Alright my friends, here we are, game number 3 between Socke and BratOK. This time, we are on Crevasse, and I love this map, and we will take a quick tour around it. But first, let's take a look here at BratOK in the upper right corner as our red Terran player, and here in the bottom left, we do have Socke as the teal Protoss. So yes, this is game number 3, we are tied up 1-1, and this time, here we are on Crevasse. Let's take a quick meander outside of the main base of Socke and see what we have going on. As you can see, first and foremost, the main base, very open, lots of space, lots of building space, but that also means lots of area to have to watch. You got to keep your eye on everything going on inside your base, so you definitely have to have spotters around to make sure you're not getting cheesed or nothing fancy is going on. Straight out at the front of the base, we can see these destructible rocks sitting here with a small narrow path to actually move around. This means you either have normally a small ramp, but if these rocks get broken down, all of a sudden you have a huge ass entrance into your base. Now in addition, right in your main, you've got a ramp leading up to your natural expansion, so this is very nice for some quick expansions. Also, the map overall is pretty big, so this makes, again, for some macro focus play. So all three maps that we've looked on between these two players in the first two games and now this one have been pretty macro-friendly maps, so we may very well be seeing macro-focused play from them again. And it looks like, yes, we will, and Bob Saget has left the game, evidently. So Socke holding off on his first gateway and going to be going for that fast nexus again, likely at 15 supply. And it looks like, yes, we will be seeing a 1-Rax quick expansion again from BratOK. So both players favoring the macro play, and as I mentioned prior, I favor casting and watching the macro heavy play, so I'm quite going to enjoy this. Now also, besides those, the main and the natural, we do of course have this additional expansion right outside those destructible rocks outside of your main, and then some more expansions closer to the middle. And in addition to that, in the middle, we do have these Xel'Naga towers. Realize those are also on the low ground, so units on the high ground could shoot your units that were sitting down there, but of course, if you have the tower, you will see them coming, and you can respond accordingly. BratOK first moving into the upper left-hand corner of the map, and as we know, Socke is in the lower left-hand corner, so it will be a moment before he scouts him. We can see also right now, it looks like Socke is going to be going straight across from his position, and he will be in fact moving right into BratOK space at the first scout. Now once more, as mentioned prior, with this Marine in play, he isn't really going to be able to push on into the main, but hopefully this time he at least responds quickly enough to pull the probe back to safety. So let's see what's going to happen. But there are two Marines here, so no, he wasn't expecting that second Marine. He tried just pushing right by that first one and ended up getting that second Marine's Gauss rifle right to the face. So there you have it. Back over here for BratOK scout coming on through, walking right past those destructible debris and into the main. He will be scouting out. Look at this. There are two gateways, the Cyber Core, one gas, and then of course he will move up to check that expansion, and he will see that expansion. Expansion still not saturated. Would like to at some point soon see a transfer of some workers, maybe about at least 4 to 5 would be nice. Send those probes right on over to this expansion and get that nice and saturated. Zealot will be chasing around that SCV. Looks like that SCV, of course, will be able to outmaneuver and outdance that Zealot. I don't know that that Zealot was in fact dancing. 3 Marines heading across the map. 4th Marine sitting out front to block any additional scouts that may be pushing in. Here comes that expansion and some 2 additional barracks over here as well. Finally, this Marine pushing out as well. Grabbing the Xel'Naga tower, he will see if any continued scouts come. Also, he might see the Zealot. Looks like the Zealot will be pursuing across the map, and he is going to spot that in just one moment. Zealot, there you are. Some Marines catching that Zealot, but knowing, hey, he's not headed back. He's just grabbing this tower. And actually, does that tower see that tower? I think... No, it doesn't. Still, just out of the vision. SCV under attack from the Stalker. See you later. Zealot pushing on down, and he needs to be careful because these Marines are primed and ready for engagement. At any moment right now, they can push forward, and they will snipe down this Zealot. Zealot, see you later. Sorry, buddy. Too much DPS for you, and you cannot outmaneuver these Marines. Look at that stutter step, dropping that Zealot. Free kill for BratOK. Now, BratOK, of course, also got that SCV, but again, Socke did lose his probe here to these Marines as well, so... Not that it matters, but Socke is behind at the moment. Nothing huge, nothing tragic either. We can see BratOK getting a saturation here at his quick expansion. Sitting with these 3. Here comes that stim pack. Also some Marauders coming out as well. We have a couple Stalkers moving across the map looking for those Marines. Stalkers going to be very strong against those Marines early game. Only major concern is once those Marauders come into play. And as we do see, there's one Marauder in play. Here comes a second Marauder as well. Back over here, what is Socke going for? Looks like we do have 4 gateways. There is a forge coming on through. Still no robo, so just sticking with that gateway tech at the moment. Pretty happy with that. Stalkers trying to push forward. Just a bit too much for them to handle. After losing a little bit of those shields, we can see those Stalkers head back home, and it looks like here comes a little bit of aggression here from these Marines and that Marauder. Another Marauder should be pushing on down as well. Ton of supply depots sitting there in that corner. There's that reactor. Another tech lab over there as well, coming out with those combat shields. Nice saturation over here. Let's take a look. Nice saturation over here for Socke as well. Socke has the level 1 upgrades coming. Scan, checking those production buildings. He sees those 4 gateways. Probably also saw that chrono boost over there as well. Robo got delayed, waited till that scan dissipated, and then finally dropping that Robo. And it looks like BratOK deciding not to push quite as of yet. He is going to be pretty content with just grabbing this Zelnaga tower. Is he going to actually get these rocks? I think he might. Will he get those rocks? That's actually, it opens up another avenue of attack, but it also makes it so that he has another avenue of maneuverability to actually maybe outmaneuver the main army of Socke if it does happen to come about. But no, it looks like those rocks will be sitting there for the moment. And what is that? Is that like a piece of road or something? I would like to know what that hunk of metal is. If one of you could please let me know, inform me, I would be quite happy. Back over here inside of the main base, again, Socke chrono boosting out that level 1 research. That Robo is just about finished. Now, is that transition coming over here? Yes, it is. Factory coming on through. Starport will follow suit right after, and I almost expect, of course, a reactor to get placed down with this factory for that hot swap to get those early double medevacs. That could very well be the case. Another Marine pushing out, always grabbing those Zelnaga towers. Great idea, of course. There's no reason really not to. People say you don't want to lose the unit. Well, use your brain. If when you have the tower, you've got that extra vision. So if you see an army pushing out against whatever unit you have at the tower, then you can just kind of walk back home with it. Marine will be moving down, and it looks like he will get a free kill here from this probe. And will the Marine get dropped as a result? Yes, it will. It will make sure he wants to target fire down the probe, though. There we go. Target firing down the probe. So at least he got that, even though he lost the Marine. Still the 1 Marine at the tower, building up those forces here. Also sitting with a turret. Observers will likely actually push in this direction. So he may catch that observer once it does come out, and look at where it's going. Please look at where this observer is walking. He's walking right in the path of that missile turret, and this is something you really have to know. Usually those observers get placed somewhere in between your expansion and your main. That's the typical kind of movement pattern. So if you place turrets there, you can very well catch observers by surprise. But the observer does get dropped quickly because he spotted that Marine. I'm sorry, the Marine got dropped quickly because the observer spotted, but observer not going to continue to push because he's seeing these Marines and Marauders move across the map, so he will want to follow them around and see, hey, what are you guys up to? Now we can see over here, Socke moving into his 3rd, also a 3rd getting built over here by BratOK. Marines and Marauders just really trying to go for some map control here, trying to grab the towers and make sure they know what's going on. The center of the map obviously has a great opportunity for large battles during the middle stages of the game. Probe moving on over here to check this as well. I don't know that he's going to be trying to come out with an expansion. That seems very odd if it does. And the Marine catching the probe, and he should be able to get that kill, no problem. A couple of Marines and Marauders moving down to that tower. A few more Marines and Marauders coming out. Finally have that medevac production working its way on through. Socke just sitting on these gateway units right now. Factory scout moving across the map to check for expansions, and the bay is coming out, but still no bay yet, so that means no Colossus yet. The level 2 upgrade's just about finished, but still needs to be careful. Wow, that stim was nowhere near engagement. Hopefully he tries to engage, but no. Seeing the stim, force fielding the units out. Very nice play there by Socke, forcing that loss of life from the stim, but not being able to do any damage because of that force field wall. Really like that. Great play, Socke. Definitely enjoyed seeing that happen. And pulling forward, getting a couple free kills. He actually dropped that medevac as well. Marines and Marauders are pulling back home, but does, of course, need to be careful. Blank Stalkers taking out a few of these units and actually forced to stim away, not wanting to take losses, but also not wanting to engage. Pulling back to the medevacs, we'll get a little bit of healing. It looks like the gateway army here of Socke is just going to be sitting in the middle. The Marine, did he get that kill? Yes, he did get that probe kill, finally able to chase that down. Here comes the factory scout. Will be, of course, scouting this 3rd expansion. Another gateway, 2 gateways coming out, also a cannon being placed over there. Finally, the bay is in place, so we'll be seeing some Colossus once the supply block does get lifted. Unfortunately, Socke getting himself supplied block, not the best of things. Back over here, still seeing, of course, that Marine Marauder production. We do have an armory coming into play as well. Observer still moving across the map with some scouting. So again, once more, another macro-heavy game, and I'm enjoying it, but I do wish that we saw a little bit more harass. The Marine did get taken out. Look at the remnants there of his corpse. So back over here, Marines and Marauders in the middle, getting ready to engage with these Blink Stalkers. Do Zealots have charge? No, they do not, but we do have those Blink Stalkers in place. Some nice force fields helping quite a bit, but still, with all those ranged units, the Zealots were forced to push back without that charge. And without any actual Marines and Marauders on this side of those force fields, once they had finally taken care of what was there, really no reason to continue up that push. Might as well just pull back, take that small little victory, and be happy with it. Drop going in back of the main, but it looks like Socke was fully prepared for it, able to drop down that medevac, so that is forcing these Marines and Marauders to stay in the base, and of course that means that they will die. It is only a matter of time until it gets mopped up, and there you go. See you later, Marines and Marauders. Another Colossus sitting over here, and I think we've got two. No, just the one in play right now. Here comes the second one, and here come the Marines and Marauders, so the big push coming from BratOK, finally moving forward for some engagement. Loving the proxy pylon placement here from Socke for some later game harass. Definitely can be quite effective. Factory still scouting out and actually canceling this expo. Socke knows this push is coming with that observer scout. Also, no, he doesn't have the tower, but with that observer scout, he saw it. So here we go, trying to push forward, but this is not where he wants to engage. Blink Stalkers, there you go. Guardian Shield, Force Field helping a bit. Zealots trying to get in front. Some sitting in the back here, unfortunately not being that effective. The Colossus just raining hell, sitting at 5 kills right now, and all those Marines and Marauders way out of range there with no Vikings in play either, having a hard time dealing with this. Some more force fields going down, helping those Zealots catch up, and there you go, forcing the lift off there. Very nice by Socke. Let's take a look here at the unit loss tab. Looks like Socke is still behind a little bit, but they are pretty much about even. There isn't really a huge advantage going to either player right now in terms of resources lost. Just that slight advantage for BratOK, I would say. Socke losing just a little bit more. Now let's take a quick look at the current units. We've got 65 probes as opposed to the 58 SCVs, so probe count a little bit higher, but of course you realize we also have mules for our Terran player BratOK. Now BratOK not dealing with any sort of harass as of yet. We do finally have that Dark Shrine coming into play. I mean, obviously we've seen from these last two games, and here at this third one, Socke loves that mid-game DT harass. Unfortunately, in game number 2, he really didn't get to do it that effectively because of the constant drop harass that we saw from BratOK. So hopefully BratOK keeps up that trend, does some more drop harass, trying to snipe expansions and snipe high priority tech buildings. Always going to be a great idea. Finally, sitting with some Vikings in play, we'll have a much easier time dealing with these Colossus. We do still have some more Vikings coming out. Looks like he is sitting on 2 starports. There's one, but where's the second one? I saw 3 in production. There's got to be a second one. There's the second one over there as well. So just building up their forces, and again, that macro-focused play showing itself here. Just both players being a little bit timid in terms of engagements. Now, once that Dark Shrine comes into play, we'll be interested to see how Socke decides to utilize it. Probably partly why he decided to place these proxy pylons all over the place will be because with that DT harass, it'll be much easier to send them in and do a bit of damage, sitting on a few Vikings and missile turret, dropping down the observer very, very quickly. And again, just dancing around the middle. That's all Socke is really doing. He doesn't want to engage. I am seeing some DT getting warped in, but where? Oh, where are they? Where are those DT? There are the 4 DT that just got warped in. Templar Archives coming out as well, so we'll be making that transition into High Templar. Couple more Zealots coming into play, and DT will be, of course, going for some expansion harass, but no, not engaging yet. Blink Stalkers pushing forward, sniping down some of those Vikings and forced to pull back. Here come the Colossus in the front. Needs to be careful. Ooh, very close to taking a volley there from those Vikings, and Vikings getting pushed back again from those Stalkers. DT still have not come into play. We've got the 3 sitting over here, and there's number 4. So still not engaging with those. A little bit concerned about walking into the main army, getting spotted, and having a scan go down and just killing those DT very quickly. The pylon does get dropped. DT will be pushing in. Just the one, actually, trying to just do a little bit of damage. There's the second one. Needs to be careful walking right into the detection range of that scan, though. That gets taken care of. Here's another Dark Templar over here. The other one's sitting over here as well, so those Dark Templar really haven't come into play quite as of yet. Looks like BratOK is controlling the middle of the map right now, coming out with level 1 upgrades for those Vikings. Also the level 3 for his infantry. We've got level 2 armor coming out for the Protoss army. However, weapons upgrades, those are sitting at level 3 already right now. So Socke, in terms of upgrades, looks like he is sitting in a stronger position right now, so engaging in those terms would be beneficial, but needs to be careful using the mobility of those Blink Stalkers pulling back, and needs to be very careful about force fields right here. BratOK may be seeing them. Here comes the engagement. Lots of Vikings pushing forward to try to snipe down those Colossus, pulling to the back there as well. That one Colossus getting a little bit close. Those Marauders do a lot of damage, but a nice force field wall helping quite a bit. So many Vikings though mopping up all those Colossus, and it looks like there are enough ground forces to actually finish this off, and Socke mopping up the rest of that attack there, blinking forward, sniping down those medevacs. Very unfortunate for BratOK. BratOK just lost everything, and that is not a happy situation. BratOK sitting at 46 army supply as opposed to the 74 unit loss tab. Now a clear advantage going to Socke. Socke sitting in a very strong position, and that is sans DT harass. He has not actually had those DT come into play. Now this is going to help actually stopping the landing of this command center. So just a momentary harassment will force BratOK to move forward and actually drop a scan to deal with this. So here it comes. There goes the scan. Second DT, unfortunately, walking in there needlessly, pretty much. But again, delaying that expansion, even momentarily, is very helpful. Now we can see Socke now is sitting over here with his 5th expansion. At the moment, we do only have, what is it? Looks like 2 or maybe even 1.5 mining base. And here is finally another one. So 2.5 mining bases. We do have Socke here with the full resources available. Another pretty much full one over here and a full one over here. So economically, it looks like Socke is in a strong position. And here comes another push right now. Needs to be careful with those Colossus. Try to push that back. The Vikings looks like they will take it down, but those Zealots pulling right on in. They do in fact have that charge upgrade that is helping a ton, letting them get very, very close to that bio army of BratOK, and BratOK looking to be in a bad position. He is going to be losing this expansion. We do have some High Templar in here as well, and there are those storms coming into play, and feedbacks going down, stopping any healing, and also doing a bit of damage to those medevacs. That is no good at all. Socke continuing up this aggression. We do have a drop going off in that natural expansion, but this is not going to do much damage, and BratOK, realizing that, just calls the GG. For the 3rd game in a row, we saw quick expansion builds from both players, with Socke going for that first Nexus before the Gateway, and BratOK going for 1 Rax into Expand. For a majority of the rest of the game, we saw both players just stick to macro play. Socke moving into his 3rd, as well as BratOK moving into his 3rd, and then just dancing around the middle of the map, vying for control of the center. At 12 minutes, we saw BratOK attempt to push into the 3rd expansion here of Socke, but Socke spotting that stim and dropping down the force field wall, making it so that BratOK just lost life but wasn't able to do any damage. BratOK did move 1 medevac to drop inside of the main, but actually wasn't able to do much damage at all. Socke, seeing it quickly, was able to respond to it. Also, some of these units here of BratOK unfortunately took damage from that photon cannon as well. Shortly after that drop, we had our first large engagement. Again, BratOK attempting to push onto the 3rd, but with some very nice force fields and those Zealots allowed to catch up to those bio units, we were able to see Socke just do so much damage to this bio army. One big problem as well is that this Colossus pretty much went unchecked because BratOK had no Vikings and he wasn't able to get within range with his bio army to snipe down that Colossus. After that engagement, we saw Socke move into his 4th expansion. Now, as BratOK tried to move into his 4th with this proxy pylon, Socke was able to spot it, warping in the Zealot and actually forcing that cancellation, and that was actually a big problem for BratOK. Our big endgame engagement then came at around the 19-minute mark. Now realize at this point Socke is sitting on 4 bases with BratOK just on the 3. Because of that, with this extra economy, Socke was able to warp in some units. That, in addition to some nice force field placement we're going to see here, allowing those Zealots to just do so much work on this bio army. Now even with these Vikings able to target fire down the Colossus, the Gateway army was just so much stronger than what BratOK was able to deal with, and then forced to drop down those Vikings. This pretty much made it so that Socke had completely mopped up everything BratOK had, and then Socke pushed out for another attack, which then forced the GG. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this 3-game series between BratOK and Socke. This was definitely pretty entertaining. I quite enjoyed casting it, so hopefully you enjoyed watching it. As always, guys, if you like the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.